No, I think it just took
Now we are.
forever, and now we are. No intro tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because apparently JLB on the controls is not a good thing. But welcome, everybody, to Wrestling Talk Now, Thursday night rundown, where we, of course, will be running down everything and anything wrestling related this week from WWE, AEW, and all your latest news and rumors. And if there's randomly impact we randomly bring up, we give you a little bit of everything. I am not alone. For now, I am with the crazy one, Mr. Loco himself, Kid Krazy. How goes it, good sir?
I'm going good. It's been a long week. Tried to catch up on my wrestling because I was a bit delayed from Friday, but everything is caught up and ready to go. Hope everything is
There
good
you
with
go.
everybody.
That's fair. Hopefully, everything is good everywhere else. Yeah, man. At least you caught up. That's what counts. A lot of wrestling, as usual. So, it can be hard, especially to remember everything. But you're Mr. Note Taker. So
Yes.
you are a champ at that. Well played. We'll go with the breaking news. So
Let's do it.
breaking news wise, we are going to start it off with, of course, Hangman Adam Page. For those of you who did watch AEW Dynamite on Tuesday, did notice between the match between him and Jon Moxley, he had gotten hurt. They had stopped the match. And then all the reports started coming in saying that it was a concussion or that he was sent to the hospital as well. They gave a thumbs up, though. So it is reported that he does have indeed a concussion, or yeah, he has a concussion and he's under a concussion protocol for AEW at least, but he has been released from the hospital. So that is a good sign in the sense that he can just get medical attention more near his hometown and whatnot. And he will be resting for the foreseeable future. So Hangman Page, so far, so good. Nothing overly serious where he's hospital bound. But yes, he did receive a concussion on Dynamite. Whether it was because of that lariat or it was his head hitting that mat, I don't know. But
It seems like he was knocked out from the lariat because when we see the replay, it was pretty much directly to the head there. I don't know if Adam went a bit too down earlier than he had to, but he got that arm straight to the head, and he kind of awkwardly fell on the side of his head and neck. So that's where we were more preoccupied with, was if there was any spinal or neck injuries. And thank God the first prognosis is that wasn't. It was just a concussion. I don't want to minimize a concussion because a concussion is still serious, but it looks like it's not as serious as we thought. Maybe for a fraction of a second there, we weren't sure if it was storyline or not. But then when we saw the cameras, we're trying to avoid him, and then we quickly found out that it was pretty serious.
Exactly. So that's one thing I noticed right away. Sure as hell, Taz's comments didn't really help out with anything because Taz was, I felt shocked, he was over. He looked shocked, but then I was like, you know what I mean? Like, it was weird. It was just like the other guys were acting very professional about it, and Taz was just completely out of character. And I was like, so is this a shoot? Or is this a work? Or you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? But
you don't see him take off his sunglasses a lot. And when they cut that second time to the commentators, and we saw it in his eyes that he was really concerned. So that's when it really kicked in. Okay, hopefully Hangman is good. Now that we did see him when they turned him around, where he was kind of holding his neck area a bit, and he moved his arm. So at least we knew that there wasn't no paralyzation, I guess, at that moment. Yeah. Paralysis, yeah, exactly. So quickly, I don't know what your opinion would be on this, but how do you think they managed this whole because it was 10 minutes. I think there was 10 or 13 minutes left on the program, so they had to reimagine it everything. I mean, and they had to kind of cut to the MJF promo setting up the Full Gear match. Would you have
Right.
liked them to take another route in this, or did the show have to go on there at that moment?
Well, no, I mean, the show must go on kind of thing. What else are you going to do? In that regard, I was just more curious of how they would have done it if
Mm,
everything went at bay. So I imagine Moxley still would have won,
yeah,
perhaps. Because that was kind of the story they were always telling from the get-go between
yeah.
MJF and Moxley. Um, just I think there maybe might have been an interruption if the match still went on, because when they
Okay.
panned to the booth there where MJF usually sits to watch the matches, he wasn't there. So this was maybe roughly 5 minutes before anything ever happened.
So maybe
So
this was foreshadowing an appearance from or an interruption from MJF.
that's what I'm thinking, and he would have still probably have done the same. Oh, I'm gonna try and fight you, or whatever have you. Um, and then he goes and gets the mic. I think him mentioning it the way that he mentioned it was a little bit obviously completely reimagined.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured that was the plan. In Full Gear, John Moxley versus MJF for the title. That does set up nicely because of that lovely promo MJF did with Regal
Oh my god!
Earlier on. Not even MJF, but Regal. Oh my god! Right,
They were both on fire.
They were both on fire.
The storytelling, MJF telling that story was amazing, and the response from Regal was just perfect. I think that's probably...
I'm going to turn my back now.
Yeah,
and let's see how you're going to do. I love.
I guess you're not ready. I don't know if he was like,
ready.
Yeah, it was kind of. He was. Are you going to hit me by the back and take a shortcut? But then he doesn't, and then he's like, okay, you're not ready. So yeah, it was kind of like, are you going to take the bait or are you not? And he obviously didn't take it, but it was a very fire promo, and I guess it was to set up the end of the show, which would have been under other circumstances would have had a better finish. But that's where they were going. We've seen the stories back and forth, the promo ever since the Mox came back and won after that whole press scrum with CM Punk. We knew that was the direction they were going to go, and now the lead up to a Full Gear, we should have some very interesting promos also back and forth from Mox, because Mox has been on fire in the mic also.
Yeah, Mox is gone he's gone his own kind of way in that regard, and he's just gotten better. And now with the him being there for 5 more years, John Moxley signed up for another 5 more years in more roles. Same thing we have with Chris Jericho.
Yep,
he signed up. I think it's for 3 years technically. Jericho.
He extended. Yeah, he extended for another 3 years. So he's until 2025. Was it 2025 or 2026? Because I think he had 1 year left. Yeah, that's right. I think he had 1 year left. But I think it's 2026, where he will be 55 years old at the end of that contract. So
there you go.
Yeah. So it's a good. I guess these two, when it comes to Jericho and Mox, what they really didn't want is when it would have been their last year of their contract, they didn't want no rumors going up. Are they going to sign with WWE? Or are they going to stay with AEW? They just want to take that off the table right away and say, no, we're AEW guys, and we're here to stay. So
we don't want to go through all that bullshit. And honestly, good choice. And I think these two are going to be the locker room leaders officially, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Going forward. Yeah. I think Jericho was already there, just him being the one of the biggest veterans there. But now Mox, with really taking a role of, I think he kind of did it when he initially did that first promo with Paige. Kind of thing, or even that first promo on Dynamite after all that, and he kind of was talking to the locker room. I think that's initially when he imprinted his name into being one of the locker room leaders.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
And both superstars, say what you want about Jericho, his personal opinions on certain things. It is what it is, but both of these guys do respect the wrestling business. So I think it's a good move, because God knows it's been a circus for a good chunk of the year. Whether
Yep.
that's due to CM Punk, whether that's due to the Young Bucks, clearly something wasn't working there. And now at least we got two guys who've been in the business for a long time who can at least stabilize the locker room and just keep it going forward. And hopefully AEW has a bigger and brighter future.
Yep, I totally agree, and we can. Uh, I think it's safe to say that going into 2023, one of the priorities of Tony Khan and AEW management is to try to get this drama and backstage stuff. Um, if it does happen, stay in the family and not have this be public, or because shit's gonna happen. But I mean, to make it public and have all these I don't want to say divas, but these egos going at each other publicly is not a good look for the company. And what we did find out yesterday that I forgot to write in my breaking news notes was apparently Santana and Kingston got into physically backstage a few months ago. We could presume it's around the time of the Blood and Guts. And apparently Ortiz and Santana are not on good terms yet as of now. So I know he did get hurt. Santana did get hurt at Blood and Guts. That's why he didn't go up on top of the cage. But apparently there was more story. There was more story to that. There was more backstory to that beef, and we just found out that they got it. So now Kingston, it is the third time something has happened.
I think, but do we know why they had beef? Because I feel like Kingston's beef with Santana is the beef that Santana has with Ortiz. So the whole thing with that is Ortiz is very comfortable where he's at. He's very content with doing whatever AEW wants him to do. And like, hey, I'm getting paid well. I'm grateful. I like where I am. Whereas Santana, he wants to be pushed forward. He wants to get, he wants to do a lot more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has that inkling.
He's more ambitious.
He's more ambitious, if you will. Considering these guys have been, Jesus, they've been wrestling for God knows how long, maybe a good 10, 12 years already.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were in Impact before, and I imagine they were in the Indies before that. So I was thinking that it was kind of the beef between that, and Kingston kind of took Ortiz's side.
Yeah.
A lot of people are weighing on both men. Like, okay, look, Ortiz is happy. But again, maybe that's why Pride and Powerful weren't getting pushed to a big enough extent, because, hey, well, if they don't really necessarily care for it, why am I going to end up pushing you? On that side note, maybe that's why Santana was angry. Maybe it's due for them being always in Chris Jericho's factions or in other factions, and that's all they really have done in AEW. So is it a booking issue? Is it Ortiz issue? Is it a Santana issue? Is it all of the above? And it's kind of sad that Santana and Ortiz don't talk, because I truly do feel that if they're not together, I don't think they'll be able to do much separately.
I agree.
Unless they bulk up and they completely change everything about them.
I think there might be potential. I think there might be potential there for Santana, maybe. Like if you said, if he beefs up a bit and he's got more charisma, speaking on the mic and everything. But I do agree. I love this tag team together. It's a shame that they didn't get to a championship run. Deemed for them. And now we don't know, because in a tag team we all know got to have certain chemistry with each other, and if there's tension there or friction in between a tag team, it's really hard to get pushed through. We don't even know if they'll get back together or fix all this problem. But I am disappointed, because I really like Proud and Powerful, and they were good tag team. I put on some bangers.
Is it Pride and Powerful or Proud and Powerful?
Well, I know you might be right. They might be Pride and Powerful. I'm not 100% sure.
You could be right too, though. I just thought I was wrong.
But yeah, it's sad. But to come back to what we're saying is these things have to stay in house. These problems, and hopefully that's.
Well, and I think they were for a good chunk of I think they were for
the
a
first
good
2
chunk of
years, yeah.
time, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Kingston, he just always talks to. Maybe he got involved, and they're all from New York and whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like brothers. They're all Hispanic too. On
And he's
top
an
of that,
emotional guy, Kingston. It seems like he's an emotional
very
person, and
emotional
he's a real person. There's no BS with with Kingston.
Right.
If he has something on his
That's
mind,
why I love Kingston, though.
Exactly, me too. That's if he has something on his mind, it seems like he's the kind of person that's going to say it. So, so I don't want to bag on him for that.
No.
But it's something that they do have to fix going forward, and then in 2023, that should be a priority for them, so we can concentrate on the product and moving forward. What how they're gonna do? Extra TV show? Is ROH gonna get a weekly show? We've heard that there's rumors that they might get one soon in the beginning of 23
with HBO Max. Apparently,
yeah, exactly.
That was also, I guess, good segue. That was one of the big news too. Still kind of rumored though. Yep. After the next ROH pay-per-view, which I believe is in December.
Final
I
battle,
want to say this final battle. Starting in 2023, they most likely will be having a live stream TV show on HBO Max. It seems, which makes sense because guess who owns HBO Max? Discovery and Warner. So
yeah, so that makes sense. So that they keep everything in the family, and I guess it's a kind of moving forward in getting the next deal done, because now if ROH gets a deal, we don't know how with HBO Max, we don't know how long that deal would be, but with the other TV deals coming up for renegotiation this year, because I think they finish in 2024, so usually they spend the year before negotiating, see if they can extend. True. So that's going another thing going into 2023 that they'll have to look in for, because that can be a big boost in revenue for AEW, because I don't see how everything went good on the ratings. There seems like the executives at Warner are happy with the ratings that they are getting, so it seems like there will be a rise in the TV deal and the TV rights for AEW. So that could be a game changer also for them if they move anywhere close to the 100 million mark a year. That can be huge for them moving forward and for their business model also. So that's the key things they should be looking at in 2023. So it's keep the drama under the lid and in the family and working forward for the TV deals in 2023.
Yeah, exactly. And 2023 is definitely going to be a big year for them. So that's, I think, where we'll see what they really do with AEW. Right now, I feel like number wise, they've always kind of been the same maybe as when they started, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also not improving a lot. So who knows with new shows just for Dynamite, and then you add the ROH thing for streaming, and then will AEW get a AEW network or whatnot? I think 2023 is going to certainly have some big things. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. And since we're talking about ratings and TV deals, I guess that's another good segue to talk about. We had a little revival of the Wednesday Night Wars, but this time it was on Tuesday, and Triple H had a meeting, or I guess a speech he gave, where he absolutely wanted to beat Dynamite on this special Dynamite Tuesday because of baseball, and it didn't work out as Triple H planned. NXT, I guess, did good because they kept their viewership. They didn't lose any of their viewership to Dynamite. And Dynamite did lose, but that's normal because they're on a different night. So maybe some people were lost a bit and were thinking it was on Wednesday. But NXT still had their numbers. I think it was 721,000 for Dynamite and 657, I think it was, thousand for.
I got the numbers here. Yeah, so 752,000 for Dynamite, which a little bit lower than it's down from 23% down. It's down 23% from last week. But different night. fans' habits can't change on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
They did have 4 championship matches, though. They did highly promote it a lot.
Yeah.
But they ultimately still beat NXT, who that's their regular day, and on the USA Network, which is seen by a lot more people, which garnered 676,000 viewers, which essentially was only like 8% lower.
Yeah. And what I think they were hoping on was because there was a baseball game before the Dynamite, and they were hoping that it was going to last a bit longer and like finish like right before Dynamite and maybe carry on some of those viewers onto Dynamite, but it ended up finishing almost an hour at 7:10, so almost 50 minutes earlier.
Wow, okay.
So then you probably lost some of those baseball viewers that would have just maybe stayed on the channel and by curiosity and watched Dynamite. So maybe that's where they maybe lost a few tens of thousands of viewers there. But all in all, I think it was. If I would see it as an outside person looking, which I am looking into this, would be that I think it's a success. It was a success for both. I think NXT not losing viewers. I know they wanted to win, but realistically, it's still looked upon as developmental. So it's still they're not considered a main brand. So I think keeping their viewers is a win for them, and not losing too much, even though 23% is a lot. It's out of 1 million. That's almost 230,000 viewers. And I think, considering all that, considering the game finished an hour earlier before they went on, I think we could call it a success at 750,000 compared to 1 million on a night that not usually theirs, like you said. So I think it could be seen as a success. And I think for all the AEW delivered on the card itself. It was a good card, not the best Dynamite I've seen, but a good card. One of the, I could say it's I wasn't gonna say top 10, but definitely top 15 of the year Dynamite. So it's not like
no. That's what I mean. I mean, you had the trios match to start it off, Best Friends versus Death Triangle. That was fun. I had no issues with that. Maybe we're seeing a little wedge between the Death Triangle, with Pac wanting to use the hammer, and Lucha Brothers are like, no, you don't need it. Da, 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 da. So will we be seeing a turn of Death Triangle, or we'll be seeing Pac essentially just going crazy and ultimately screwing over the Lucha Brothers? But they still ultimately won. I think it was a clean win technically then. But fire match. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was very, very, very good match. Very good match. And then NXT, for that, they had promoted on Raw, promoted on SmackDown. They had guys from the main roster on the show. They had matches with guys from the main roster on the show, but the show didn't deliver itself. The matches weren't great, except for maybe I really liked what's his Fire versus Sonya Deville with Toxic Attraction, but I don't know. It seemed a bit under how do you say it? Underachieved.
Undervalued.
Underachieved. Okay. I think the NXT this NXT underachieved for what they were expecting, but like I said before, they still were around the same number of viewers, so it's not that bad. And Halloween Havoc being this Saturday.
That's what I mean. So this is the going home for Halloween Havoc on top of that. Yeah. So that's kind of disappointing. And you also saw the comeback of Miss Attraction herself, Mandy Rose. I mean, I don't know, I guess, but people, like Mandy Rose and so on and so forth. You had to do the KO show there. You had Austin Theory potentially looking to cash in.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise, I guess. Yeah.
Pleasant surprise, different. I think KO should probably stick in NXT for at least the next few weeks, since he's most likely not going to Crown Jewel out of his support for Sammy. So I think it's a good thing for him to stick to NXT, help out with NXT a bit, maybe lose a couple matches to put a few people over. But yeah, I personally didn't watch NXT there, but obviously I was watching.
But it was
Dynamite.
It was a fun swerve because now we're thinking maybe Austin Theory will use his Money in the Bank to cash in for the NXT World Title. So that's kind of out of left field there. I think that's good position for him. Because he was
Well,
kind of
he's not
losing
going to beat
traction.
Roman, so
Well, exactly, and he was kind of losing traction on the main roster there recently.
Right.
I don't know if he's Triple H's favorite, but he had been losing a few matches there. Yeah, anymore at least. So that was a pleasant surprise to see him there. I just don't know if maybe if he really wanted to cash in. I don't know if announcing that he was gonna maybe cash in was the best heel move for him. Maybe just showing up at Halloween Havoc and cashing in would have been more of the heel move. But
so
I guess
he said he was legitimately going to cash in.
No. He said if he wanted, he could do it. That's what he said, basically.
Oh, okay.
So we're not sure he's going to show up and cash in, but now we have doubts, and so does Dragunov and Braun.
Dragunov.
Not Jagged off, not Jacket off. Dragunov.
Dragunov. All right, fair
Dragunov and JD McDonough against Braun Breaker, which that should be a fire triple threat match. But yeah, so going back to breaking news, we did hear Ace Steele from the Dirty Sheets that Ace Steele has been quietly released from his contract with AEW, and we did see again on Dynamite this Tuesday when they were promoting Rampage. We did see in that video package, we did see the Young Bucks, and when they showed before the match, before the ROH Championship match, Dalton Castle versus Chris Jericho. When they showed the video of former ROH champions, we did mysteriously see again CM Punk. They're part of the past champions of ROH. So we don't know if this means there's a lawsuit that was settled or dropped, or maybe there's some new development in this whole press scrum beef that happened at All Out. So hopefully in the next few weeks we should have some resolve with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's promising. I just can't help think. I know, but they wouldn't be. I can't help think it was maybe a mistake. They had just forgotten it, but no. How do you forget it? You're doing a whole promo package.
The human errors do happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm sure somebody relooks at these packages before they go on air, don't they?
Right.
I would think.
No, I mean, that's a good sign. We still obviously we haven't heard anything except that was the latest news. Ace Steele, you're gonna bite people, you're gonna get fired. That's what it is in any job you get anywhere. So
go try to bite your coworker tomorrow.
Go try to bite your coworker to see what happens. Let me know if you don't get fired. You'll definitely get suspended.
I might go apply for that job.
I might go apply. Jesus Christ, we got a biter, ladies and gentlemen. We got a biter.
But I definitely miss. I won't lie here in front of all you guys and say I miss CM Punk too much, but I can't lie and say I do miss Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks being around. There has to be, I guess, because this is all elite wrestling after all. It's not all WWE wrestling; it's all elite wrestling, and they were a big part of launching this company, and I think they can be a big part of this company going forward. Hopefully, they do find an agreement and everything is resolved with Tony Khan and all that. So that was a promising, like you said. I think that was the right word you used there. Promising for future developments, and we'll see if soon there'll be an announcement. Hopefully, so.
Yeah, that's it. So, and by Full Gear too, that would be kind of dope. Full Gear's happening when? Oh, it's in November, huh?
I think we mentioned this last week, but I think it's the first week of December. 18th, I think. Though. Could it be? Wait, I'm wrong there.
I want to say the 19th of November now. I didn't check yet. What is it called? It's Full Gear.
Full Gear.
AEW Full Gear.
So it is. You're right. The 19th.
There you go. Yeah, it popped in my head. I definitely saw Excalibur. Oh, because Excalibur had to redo it again at the end of AEW too, right?
Oh, yes.
When mentioning everything else.
That's true. So basically a month from this weekend. A month from now, basically. We are the 18th today. Yeah, the 19. Thanks.
Our amigo has got our back there, Big Red. Thank you, good sir.
Thanks. So yeah, so that's in about a month. So that leaves a month of build up and promos working towards that. So and if you are to bring them back, I think Full Gear as a surprise during the pay-per-view would be the ideal time to bring maybe not all three of them. Because I think you would want to, I don't know, do you want to put them back in the trios picture? I guess. Or do you want Kenny to join the title picture?
I don't think Kenny needs to, though. I think it might be more advantageous for Kenny Omega to do some other titles. Let's do the trios with them. They certainly have a lot of tag teams with Dalton Castle's team, and you can do, JAS, you can do the Death Triangle, FTR, and whoever the fuck wants to join FTR.
It looks like it's going to be Sean Spears, yeah.
Sean Spears, the perfect 10. I mean, if you're going to pick a wrestler, that's the perfect 10 right there. And he doesn't need to be in the title picture. And I honestly think if it's going to be Jon Moxley MJF at Full Gear, I think we're going to see an MJF run for a hot minute. So
yep, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
I hope at least the first match MJF gets is not MJF versus Kenny Omega, because I truly don't believe that anyone would believe that he could beat Kenny Omega.
Well, if there's one person that could definitely put over another wrestler, that would definitely be Kenny Omega. And the rub that MJF would get from beating a Kenny Omega clean in the ring, depending how they do it with Mox. If MJF, which I hope that's where they're going, if MJF can cleanly beat Mox, which I think that's the way they should go, then you could start building credibility for MJF and then having him continue that with beating Kenny Omega. Because I don't know if you have this feeling also, and be interesting to know if our audience members also have this feeling. But do you feel like there's kind of a slow turn here for MJF?
It's weird. He's like playing. He's really in the middle of heel and babyface. He didn't want to use it then because he wants to use it at Full Gear to make sure that Moxley's 100%. What kind of heel does that? He didn't take the cheap shot on William Regal.
Mm-hmm.
No, every heel would do that. He told
being mad at the firm guy last week for interfering.
He was going to shake what's his face's hand. Yeah. Who did he wrestle? Whose hand was he going to shake?
What's his name? Yuta.
That's it. Now we kind of see Yuta maybe going heel with him being mad at Daniel Bryan for still talking about Daniel Garcia. So maybe that's where we're going to see. And I love that because now that's what we're going to see Yuta be more ROH. That ROH TV deal sounds like it's around the corner. Yuta to ROH, Daniel Garcia to the Combat Club.
Yeah, and credit to our co-host here on Talk Now, on Wrestling Talk Now, Jeffrey, Jeff Tavares. Jeffrey, that was a bit weird.
Jeffrey.
That did mention this, that Wheeler Yuta might be a better asset for ROH, and that Daniel Garcia would fit better in the Blackpool Combat Club. So I think that's where the story might be ending up. So I want to apologize for the past few weeks. Well, not few weeks. I think it was last week where I mentioned that maybe this WWE New Japan Forbidden Door was going to be open, and I had some hopes with all this Carl Anderson from the OC defending his open weight title in New Japan. Well, the stick got put in the wheels this week, where they announced the OC will be at Crown Jewel. So there's a scheduling conflict, and he won't be defending his open weight in New Japan on that weekend. There's no news yet that he's going to drop it, or that he's going to, not drop it. Relinquish it.
Right.
But we still don't know. Maybe that will be rescheduled. Maybe they're still negotiating on that. But I'm a bit disappointed that they didn't let him go defend it. I think it would have been good for both companies. I think it would have. Business-wise, I think
no, but I mean, how? It's literally the day before Crown Jewel.
Oh no! The fact that he's wrestling now at Crown Jewel completely makes it forget it. It's not possible.
It's like a 16-hour flight from Japan to
Saudi
Saudi
Arabia.
Arabia, apparently.
Yeah.
So
So
like,
that
fuck.
no, that won't happen.
The guy's gonna get there right at the start of his match.
Yeah, I was saying more like if he wasn't on the Crown Jewel card, then they could have let him go defend that. I think yes, of course it would have been more advantageous for New Japan to have a WWE wrestler wrestle on their card, but I think it would have been it would have kind of cemented, or not cemented, but it would have put a new look on Triple H and his openness to have these kinds of deals, and that kind of closes the door there. We'll have to see how this continues. Maybe, like I said, they're still in negotiations for a future championship for him to defend that championship. We'll have to see, because they look like they're pretty much cemented on main storylines on the main roster. So,
well, I mean, and I also do think it's more of New Japan's fault. New Japan didn't try to get them onto a contract, and then you go put a belt on them or on Anderson. Trips probably didn't even really know anything of what was going on. Maybe Anderson told him, "Hey, I'm the New Japan champion."
That could be.
But Trips is like, "Okay, but what's going on with that?" I don't know. You know what I mean? So negotiations are very possible, or it's just kind of like, "Hey, New Japan, too bad, too sad." When he has free time, then maybe he can go up there and whatever. But until then, I need him for my pay-per-views. So it's kind of, and New Japan dropped the ball on that. We'll see if he We'll see if he fights in January though, because he's supposed to also fight for
Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah,
Wrestle Kingdom. So we'll see. And then if he misses that one, I feel like New Japan will just be like, okay, fuck off. We're really
if it doesn't happen at that point, yeah. But I think because definitely WWE has the leverage here, because they have them under contract. So that's all the leverage you need. But I think there was an openness to this, and I think it would work to his benefit. But I agree, if this is not done by the January Wrestle Kingdom New Japan show, then we can forget about that for sure.
Forget about it.
What? Oh yes, so on Bloomberg, that's a pretty big breaking news from an interview that The Rock was making to promote Black Adam. He was asked a few questions about his conversations with Nick Khan. Apparently they've gotten together a few times, discussed a few matters. One of them was The Rock being an executive in WWE, or part of the board, I guess, where maybe the responsibilities aren't as big as being like a VP or something, but at least part of the board where you could have to vote and do stuff like that, which I doubt that would be something The Rock is looking into. But the interesting part of that interview was that discussions were had. We don't know how deep these discussions were, but that they have been discussed about The Rock and some investors buying WWE right out. So, that was kind of some big news, because we don't expect this. The Rock to buy what? Because it's a publicly run company.
Right.
So he would have to, I guess, buy a majority of shares. I don't see The Rock turning this back into a privately owned company with him and some investors. So it would have to be like, well, he could, yeah. But I would see more of him buying probably maybe Vince McMahon's shares, or I guess would be around that kind of a deal. But that just shows you how big The Rock is, and for him to even mention that he would be interested in buying a multi-billion-dollar company like this just shows you how big he is, and shows how much he's still involved and still has this this love for the industry and for the business of wrestling. You obviously see it in the Young Rock and his show. It's very wrestling oriented. So
and look, I don't know though. I don't know why bro, you already have XFL going. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's going to start in 2023. Like, you have a bunch of movies, and I get it. I think you have a gym. You have your own like gym clothing line thing going.
Under Armour, the Rock brand, yeah.
Under Armour, the Rock brand, and so on. And I guess, those things are like whatever. But to own WWE, thinking of buying, like, what are you gonna do with that, bro? Like, you won't be able to focus a good chunk of your time. I mean, maybe it will just be like, hey, my name's on it, I own it, but you guys just keep doing your thing,
keep running it, kind of
that
thing. Because I don't see
keep
The Rock
running
being in
it.
Gorilla every week.
Right? No, no,
That's not gonna
no.
happen.
But hey, I need to promote something. Boom, I'm going back. He could do that anyways now, but
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you know what? All the superstars now are gonna have my clothing. Maybe he'll make it in a fucking like, just so he can get some more money out of everywhere. But I know I don't see him being in Gorilla. Triple H, hey, still run it. Steph, whatever. Do be like not be my VP, if you will, and Con your VP2 kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just be the head of the table. Oh Jesus! There goes the WrestleMania. There goes the WrestleMania rumors again. Who's the head of the table now, Roman? I own your ass. Do you smell it? I don't know.
Well, he did say when the guy asked him, because he did acknowledge him as the tribal chief.
Right.
He did acknowledge. I'm saying The Rock acknowledged Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, but then when Chris asked him who is the head of the table, he did say, "You're looking at him right now." So
you're looking at him right now.
So it's kind of conflicting.
That's it.
Opinions.
Well, Rock is gonna troll. Why not?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Because guess what?
That's The Rock.
The wrestling dirty sheets are gonna talk about it, and then while they talk about it, what are they gonna promote? Black Adam.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So
it's a great promotional vehicle for The
sure.
Rock. So there would be some pros, and obviously in everything there's cons also. But
yes, there is. There's too many cons in the wrestling industry.
Yes. That's no pun intended there.
Pun is always intended. Yeah, it was all about the pun. All about the pun.
Okay, so that was the breaking news. I guess we could start our rundown.
I guess last little thing
we
would like to mention is our thoughts and prayers do go out to Tamara and Kevin Nash. Their son at 26 years old has passed away.
Way too young.
He was way too young. Of course, we had heard news about I'm not going to get her name right. Had heard news about the former Tough Enough winner who had passed away at 30 years old. Just hearing about all of these stories of how people so young are unfortunately passing away is just really heartbreaking, and heartbreaking for all the entire Nash family and his friends. And I can't help but think how strong Kevin Nash is, going through his best friend also passing away this year as well, Scott Hall.
Yep.
And now to get news no father ever wants to ever hear in the world or anyone's lifetime that his son has passed away. There is no reports on what it might have been, but it did seem that his son was happy. He was doing the Too Sweet podcast with his father now, and it was just getting involved into that. So that just came across the sheets today. And our thoughts and prayers do go out to in the entire Nash family and everyone who has known Tristian, as well as the entire Nash family there. Yep. It's just very sad and heartbreaking news to report there.
Yep. Thoughts and prayers to Kevin there. This must be really hard on him. So may you rest in peace, Tristian.
Yeah. And can't really segue away from that in any kind of easy way. But we also, of course, did have a lot of wrestling this week. And
Rampage was in Toronto, filmed the day before.
This is valid, and it was still fuego. It was still fire. That crowd, I don't think was as good as Dynamite, but they were still pretty amped.
You saw that there was maybe a bit less people there.
I thought so. Yeah,
it was an hour Rampage, and I guess they filmed dark. And they had some tryouts apparently also with some Canadian wrestlers.
Also nice. Thursday. Yes, because Shane Hawk was there from IWS. And a few other people, Jeremy Prophet.
Yeah, there was quite a few.
There was quite a few. So I've seen these guys in Montreal, IWS, and so on. So pretty cool to see them there. I was wondering, I'm like, why is there? I'm like, oh yeah, they were in Toronto.
Yeah.
You know?
And we did get a surprise visit. I don't know if this means he's officially back in AEW or if it was just because it was in Toronto. But we did see our buddy here from Quebec. Sorry, I'm getting all mixed up here. Stu Grayson was did appear with the Dark Order segment backstage, saying, "Come on, guys, we're in Toronto. I wouldn't miss this for the world." But no news if it's official, if he's officially back, or it's just because it was in Toronto. I think it was just because.
I think it was just because it was in Toronto.
Yeah.
There was no news that he had re-signed or anything like that.
And since they did end the contract on good terms. It was just a business decision that he thought he deserved more, and Tony Khan respects that. So I guess it's easy for them to, on an appearance basis like this in Toronto, bring him back, and they got a good pop from the crowd, even if it was backstage. Sure. So that was cool. But the card itself, man, I really have a hard time catching a good card. I don't know if it's because it's the hour. Every time it's 2 hours. Well, actually, no. It only happened once that it was 2 hours, and with the Battle of the Belt, so twice. Right. That it becomes a better product. But when it's an hour, man, do they have a hard time? Because other than the,
I think it depends. It really depends on because sometimes the hour goes by so quick, and then sometimes you just have like 2 filler matches on top of the other. Like for some reason, it always starts off nice and it always ends nice. It's just in the middle, especially for Rampage, it gets kind of weird sometimes. It really depends. It's really a hit or miss, though.
Yeah, there's no halfway mark here. It's either it was good or it was very bad. Because the John Moxley, I think it did hurt them here by starting off the Blackpool Combat Club. Them already in the ring. I'm all over the place today. Because I think they lost by not having Mox come out. Well, I guess maybe over there, being live, they probably had Mox come out with his music. But it was kind of weird. But the match, Butcher and the Blade, underrated here because they put on a very good match with Claudio and Mox.
Yeah, it just wasn't needed. I don't know. I'm kind of more on like.
Well, yeah, you're right that it wasn't to build no storyline or
nothing.
Anything
and
like
I guess
that.
I do enjoy Butcher and Blade. It's just I need me a storyline.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I agree with that.
I need me a storyline. You're giving me an hour. Granted, an hour. What can you really do? Hey, can't stay. JLB is a whore. Okay, perfect. Damn, the comments aren't going everywhere though. That's the unfortunate part. But either way, yes. So not a great match. Well, no, it was a good match. It just felt pointless. That's
lack
all.
Story behind it, yeah.
It lacks story, and then when you kind of get, you don't really get good women matches. You're kind of like, why wouldn't you have just maybe put another women match there then, kind of thing too. Mm-hmm. I think I'm a little biased on that too. I would have liked to have seen maybe another women's match instead. Because if you're going to put a pointless match like that, give me more women on the card. So at least I see that you're trying to do something more with the woman. Because I think the woman right now, aside from Saraya or Saraya, I don't know. Britt. I'm pulling a Taz. I forget how to say it. Mm-hmm. Aside from Saraya and Britt, and I guess maybe TBS champion and Jade Cargill and
Nyla
Rose. Nothing else is really kind of going on, and they have a shit ton of women. So JAS was pretty cool last week, or was that?
Yeah, it was on Friday. Anna JAS versus Nyla, and
so that was fun-ish. Yeah. I'm getting behind Anna JAS too.
She's really improved in the last year. Anna JAS. Her in-ring work and her mic skills. She sometimes is easy to be destabilized, especially from the crowd. It takes it's hard sometimes when you have something to say for a promo or something, and the crowd keeps on interrupting you. It's very hard to navigate that. Not everybody can do that well. So so I'm not gonna dig on her for this, but I am gonna congratulate her on the work she's put in and how she has improved in the last year. And I guess for the storyline of that with Nyla and what was it? Jade came out and kind of like furthered that rivalry. What was it? She beat up the security guards, right? And then Nyla kind of escaped behind the security guards when Jade was kind of beating up the security guards, and then like the security guards got in the middle of them again, and now she couldn't beat them up no more. But at least it furthered the story.
But it was weird.
On.
It was still kind of weird. Like, I don't get how you beat up all the security guards and then you let them pass by. You know what I mean? Like, what?
And then the security guards get in the middle of you guys, and now you can't touch them no more. You can't pass no more when you just gave them a beating like 30 seconds ago.
So Miguel commented, "What's up, Miguel? Try to go onto the Wrestling Talk Now Facebook or onto our Twitch. For some reason, everyone's seeing mine." And they're all commenting on that one, but that one isn't working. So, Miguel, we appreciate you, good sir. Just try to go on to the regular Wrestling Talk Now forum page or on Twitch as well. Links, I posted the links there for everyone to kind of check because, yeah, we're getting no comments there. Yes, so very valid. Match of the night for you for Rampage, I guess. I know you said it was a little lackluster, but what was or your most takeaway moment, I guess?
Well, I was very surprised. Okay, so I'll go with takeaway moment. I was very surprised that Ethan Page. So I now see that they are behind Ethan Page, because for him to squash Isaiah Cassidy the way he did, I know he's at home in Toronto.
That was also very pointless, though. And now, like that whole Matt Hardy and Private Party now being part of the not the firm, but the
they're part of the firm.
The firm, that's it.
Yep.
Part of the firm. It was just like I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like you didn't really.
It's because the build up to this was very. So they announced it on Wednesday that they would be fighting for the contracts on Friday. Right. And then on Friday you just put the match, bang, squish, squash, it's over, and
squish,
squash, it's over, and now Matt Hardy and Private Party, their contracts belong to the firm. So I guess there could have been more backstory to this, and that's a recurring problem for AEW. They do sometimes speed up these storylines a bit too quickly. But I was surprised. Like it could have. I understand you want to make Ethan Page look strong. Obviously, you want to make him look strong because you're setting him up to go fight for the All Elite, for the All Atlantic Championship against Orange Cassidy. So I understand that part, but you could have still made him look strong with at least a 6-7 minute match.
And it was just too quick. It was like, why then? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
And does it come back to this whole story about Rampage being 1 hour and you gotta finish these matches and put all these stories?
Yeah, but then don't put as many matches then. You know what I mean? You didn't have to do the Butcher and Blade match. You could have just had that match go on for a little bit longer. It is all about.
Or you could have built it up with a promo on Rampage, another promo on Dynamite, another promo on Rampage, and then have the match after. There's a build up to it, maybe next Friday or the Friday after or the Wednesday after that. But definitely the match of the night was definitely so the Pinnacle is back, I guess, because now they're promoting them as the Pinnacle, even on posters. FTR and Sean Spears. So it was the Pinnacle versus the Gates of Agony, which is the Gates of Agony is Brian Cage and those other two guys that are pretty built. I forget their individual names, but that match was good. That match was that's a good way to end the bad show, though. At least they got their credibility back with that match. I don't know if it's a main event quality match, but the match itself delivered.
This was FTR and 10 versus
no, it was FTR. Yeah, exactly 10. Sorry, when you say 10, I think of Preston Vance.
Sean Spears. Sorry.
Yeah, yes. Sean Spears versus Gates of Agony. Those guys from ROH with Brian Cage.
Right.
Some crazy spots from Brian Cage. Really impressive. And but yeah, I don't know where this is going. I guess there is a little rivalry going on between them.
But there isn't, because you're gonna have then Cage and you're gonna have Cage versus Wardlow and Joe, though, right? So
yeah,
Brian
Wardlow,
Cage
that's true.
And Wardlow, Brian Cage and what's his face? one
Well,
of
no,
Prima's.
it's the Gates of Agony. No, it's his tag partners in that match that are getting the title, or is Cage involved in that match?
I think Cage. Oh, maybe he's not then. Okay, so maybe it
I
would
think
be the
it's his
Gates of
partners
Agony
from
then.
the faction, but
Okay.
yeah, they're gonna try to. Well, because now we have the return of the Kingdom,
Right.
which we saw on Tuesday, and it looks like they will be challenging FTR for the ROH Tag Championships. So
we didn't see that on Tuesday. We saw that on Rampage.
Oh, it was on Rampage. It wasn't on Dynamite.
On
Yeah,
Rampage.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. It was on Rampage. So yes. So we saw the music hit and the Kingdom come out, which is Maria Canales Bennett with Mike Bennett and Matt Taven.
Right.
Which I like Matt Taven a lot. Maybe Mike Bennett is not one of my favorite guys. I'm gonna give him a chance though. But Matt Taven, I know WWE were interested in him. New Japan were interested in him. So I'm happy to see him. All Elite. I liked his little short stint with the Honor No More in Impact, which was kind of the faction there with the old ROH guys.
Right.
So now it looks like they're going to be challenge FTR for the ROH tag championships, and then probably looks like they're going to probably be taking it into this new TV deal with ROH. Because I don't see FTR, even though I really think FTR would be great for ROH to market as tag champions, but I don't think that's where Tony Khan wants to go. Plus, we still don't know if they've been re-signed or extended on their contracts. So yeah, we don't know.
Well, I
about
imagine
that.
something's going on there. We don't know anything, but I mean, Moxley was champion and he didn't have a contract anymore. He was working off of per appearance. So I don't know. I think they do have a good relationship, Tony and FTR. We are seeing them face the new champions, the Acclaimed. Oh, no, I think they have a number one contendership first.
Yep, against Swerve in Our
Glory. And then after that, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm down. I don't know, man. I'm kind of down for FTR to win it.
I think it's
not against. I also don't want to claim to lose it though. That's the problem.
Yep, it would be kind of quick.
I think the Acclaimed is fun. It would be kind of quick. Maybe I don't know. I think Acclaimed is good for the titles though, just for selling merch and all that. The crowd is really behind them. So I don't know. Maybe you're gonna build something with maybe some sort of triple threat match for Full Gear, FTR, Swerve, and Acclaimed, and then you have essentially. I don't know. You have the Acclaim still win in some sort of way because they take advantage of when everybody's knocked down or something to not make anyone look bad. But I think this is eventually going to lead to Swerve breaking up and FTR. I don't know. Maybe that's when we'll kind of get more news on ROH or FTR doing something with ROH in December anyways. So
just my booking imagination going here. Maybe in this number one contenders match, maybe you don't put FTR in that position of being in a match for the championships again, and maybe you have the Kingdom come and interfere and cause Swerve and Our Glory to win, and maybe continuing that feud so you don't make FTR look too bad. I know people will be disappointed that FTR won't be fighting for the championships, but also we don't want to see FTR lose that match. We would like to see them win.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think FTR can lose any kind of credibility ever. So I feel like
I agree with that. Yeah.
And not essentially FTR versus the Kingdom might be for ROH Final Battle for the ROH titles.
That would make sense. So, that would make sense. That would be
that would make complete sense
at that pay-per-view. Yeah, at that pay-per-view. I agree.
So that's Rampage.
Yeah, that's Rampage. Moving on to SmackDown. So SmackDown opened up the show with some kind of earlier today video with showing an accident outside the arena. And basically, would involve a car accident involving Karrion Kross and his wife Scarlett. And then Drew just comes and beats the fuck out of Karrion Kross, and already a pretty damaged Karrion Kross. And basically, with the car, has banged his head in the car, which kind of opened him up a bit, and then was about to put his head in between the door. Was about to smash the door on his head, and basically was stopped by the wrestling officials and security guards, setting up their match for their second match for Crown Jewel. I think that was a good way to set up continue this this storyline here for Drew and Cross. It makes me interested in seeing where they're going to go with this at the Crown Jewel.
So to kind of also let everyone know as well, Karrion Kross was also on, got interviewed, also about his match at Crown Jewel and what he thinks of it. He says he's really interested to see where it can go and how they can up it from the strap match. But also, guys, he is obviously now who we know, but people are still kind of speculating. We don't really know what the White Rabbit is because Triple H mentioned we're not going to really. We don't. He thinks we know what it is, but it's not. Karrion Kross did admit that it's officially not him at all. Although, and he did comment on the fact that everyone thought it was, and even his friends, close friends, and family were like, "Yo, stop swerving us! Like it's you. Just tell us. Like stop." And he's like, "No, it's not me." You know what I mean? But he's already alluding that it's just Bray and that's it. Yes, it's Bray related, but I feel like the White Rabbit might be someone or something, which maybe just might be Bo. Right.
So. I definitely feel there's something more to that.
Yeah, because it's almost like Bray isn't the one controlling it anymore. It's this White Rabbit, and this White Rabbit has Bray almost brainwashed. And I think it's more than just one of his offset characters that he has, or it could easily be, people are when you're crazy. You have that movie Split. There's one character that kind of takes control of everybody and so on. So of all this,
it definitely seems like there's a multi-personality thing here going on. Definitely. It definitely also seems that the leader of this is that new mask, is that the when he puts on that new mask that we saw at Extreme Rules and that we saw at the end of this promo. Well, since we're talking about it, let's go with that promo. I know it ended the show there, but
I mean that's the most
yeah, and it is kind
of we gotta speed it up too. So
good. Exactly. So Bray Wyatt, that this kind of felt weird. It kind of felt like Rotunda speaking here, but I think
that's what it was. Yeah,
that's what. But I think it was what they wanted, though. They wanted to make him look human a bit, and then they're gonna swerve us with this other sick character.
I also think that's just one of the characters now. It's him talking, but he is one of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah,
exactly. He is Rotunda, Wyndham Rotunda. What is it?
Yeah, Wyndham Rotunda. Exactly. Yeah.
When he is Wyndham Rotunda, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's Wyatt 1, and then you have the Fiend. That's Wyatt 2. You have Husky Harris. That's Wyatt 3, and whatever have you. 6 faces of Wyatt. The Wyatt 6.
Because now I saw this week and it made perfect sense that all those Firefly characters are all previous versions of Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
Okay, so Husky Harris, then you have the Buzzard, which is the Mercy version of the NXT version, I guess, of Bray Wyatt, and then you have the other one that's the WWE version. And then we have the Fiend, which is not the Fiend, the Sister Abigail, which is the one that was burned down by Randy Orton in the cabin, and that's why she looks a bit dead in the cartoon. So this Wyatt 6 is definitely where we're going, and the 6th character is the guy with the mask that Bray appeared with the mask at Extreme Rules, and then that we saw at the end of this promo kind of being cut off. This promo was kind of cut off with the White Rabbit appearing on screen and that mask saying a few mysterious quotes or kind of stuff like that. So did we get any more QR codes, anything like that, or okay, so that
they just kind of Raw they just kind of showed what happened, but I don't think there was anything else. I don't remember Twitter going crazy over that at all. And I guess that's kind of the big thing on SmackDown. Wyatt's return.
Yeah, that other than that,
obviously there was the Uso, Sammy, and Jimmy still or Jay.
Yes, kind of a feud with New Day there with Kofi versus Sammy, which was an okay match, and we're still seeing the beef between
Ray.
Sammy and Jay.
And of course,
yes,
now on SmackDown, and he has a #1 contendership against Gunther.
Yeah, because he won the fatal 4-way between. He took Karrion Kross's place, since Karrion Kross
Right.
wasn't able to go into that 4-way. He threatened
Right.
to quit, and Triple H offered him a switch, a trade with to come to SmackDown and a spot on that fatal 4 that he ended up winning, which was a pretty cool fatal 4-way. I just want to mention before we move on to Raw, Hit Row versus Phantasma. They got to do something with Hit Row there. They're really losing momentum and really fast. So we need a new leader here. I'm thinking about Carmelo Hayes. Bring up Carmelo and Trick from NXT. Maybe Carmelo can take this group further because they're kind of stabilizing.
They're no Swerve, man. They're no Swerve.
Yeah,
you can't.
No, without there's something missing there, and I think Carmelo can be the A player for that. So yeah, then Raw opens up with a brawl. Brock and Bobby calling out Brock, and Brock coming out and setting up this match at Crown Jewel. I think that's why they took away the belt off Bobby, because they didn't want this to be a title match.
Right.
And people have been waiting for this match for a while. Do you see this going on more than one match continuing after Crown Jewel? I think so.
I fucking hope not. I'm good, man. I don't know. Like, I don't.
Obviously, it depends on the match. If they put on a banger,
it depends on the match.
Yeah. And how the story goes.
I mean, it could be a good Haas battle. Brock can work well when he likes the person he's working with. Lashley is also a phenomenal worker. They're both amateur wrestlers. Yeah. We haven't seen them wrestle in a bit, so I guess we'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see. There's not enough for me. I guess maybe the storyline is more what I'm looking for. Sure, their history is there, but Brock just comes and fucking F5s him, and then Lashley retaliates. Like, why the fuck are you messing with Lashley, though? What is the reason? You know what I mean?
I agree that they need to explain after this match. If they're going to continue it, they need to find a better story to explain this. Why are they?
That's why I think it's just a Crown Jewel thing. Hey,
it could be because that's usually what happens. Brock. With Crown Jewel.
So it's just Crown Jewel. It's just one-off matches, and this is one of them.
Yeah, and we know that Brock is on a part-time contract, so maybe that's just a one-time thing, and then he's out to Royal Rumble again.
And then there's exactly. There's no more day one was canceled as well, so it's going to no more day one, so it's going to go straight to Royal Rumble. So.
And something that we've been asking for this on this podcast for a while, and we haven't gotten it. And I was really on when was it? Sunday, I think Sunday. I caught Main Event on TV, and I see. Oh my God, they have a storyline between Mustafa Ali and Sheldon Benjamin on Main Event. I'm like, oh my God, and it's lasted. This was like the third week of it, so I'm like, oh no, here he's buried again, And to my surprise, bang, he shows up to try to beat up Seth Rollins. And it looks like we're going to have Seth Rollins versus Mustafa Ali. And I think that was good. I think I'm down too. I think that's
I don't think it's going to be
over.
But I think it's going to be a fatal 4-way. I think we're going to be getting Seth versus Ali versus Riddle versus Elias.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised because they're all involved in the story. Yes,
they're all involved in the story. Elias kind of messed up Riddle's chance. Riddle's going to get pissed. He wants a rematch. Elias, I don't know, will be Elias, but Ali wants to get involved. Ali does something to Riddle. Elias helps Riddle or whatever, and maybe like a fatal 4-way. I think would maybe make sense.
Yeah, that could be a possibility because we know Rollins gave a stomp to both Elias and Riddle to win the match, and then Elias came in and he got one, and then that's when Ali came back and attacked the Rollins again. So I'm interested in this, seeing where they're gonna go, and I really liked the way Mustafa was dressed. It made him look like he had swagger with the yellow shoes, and it made him look cool. So that's Ali's a cool guy. He seems, I don't know him personally, but he seems like he's a cool guy by when he talks or interviews and stuff like that. So we really want to see that part of him stand out. And I'm sure Rollins is the perfect guy to put him over in a match and make him look great.
And that would be a fire match if you let Ali do what he wants with Seth, especially being just such a fantastic worker. That's a good time.
Definitely agree with that. Finish up Raw. Yeah, we had AJ Dominic. Not interested. Corbin, JBL. Not interested. Are you interested in that?
I mean, sure. I mean, I'm always happy for Corbin to be back. Curious to see what they do with JBL. Wasn't a fan of JBL's MC Hammer pants.
Yeah, that was weird.
But
It's like he was
you
using the
know,
pants he used 10 years ago or something. They were in the back room in the
that's it.
warehouse at WWE and like throw it on or something. That was weird.
I guess, yeah, it was very weird. I was like, okay, can't touch this. Apparently,
Unless he shot himself or something.
maybe it's it. Oh, I need pants. I need pants. I don't shot myself. I was too busy investing. I couldn't get off the computer screen. I was too busy investing, and then I shot myself.
But do we know? Is he a manager? Is he Corbin's manager now, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what it is.
Okay,
he reinvented Corbin, and he's
okay.
taking Corbin under his wing. I'm not a fan of Corbin's music. I'm also not a fan of what Corbin's wearing, but I am a fan of Corbin. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. We had no finish to the Miz Dexter. They was supposed to have a match. Everybody's excited for that.
So story behind that, Miz is, well, we're kind of excited because now what does Miz know?
Yeah, that's what we want to know.
Does Miz have to, you know what I mean? Gargano kept on saying that. Just tell everybody,
Gargano knows.
You might lose. Gargano knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just tell everybody you'll get canceled, but at the end of the day, Loomis will stop bothering you. You know what I mean? So you'll get canceled, but you won't be dead, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that kind of was intriguing. Reason why the Miz isn't wrestling though is because he has a torn sack, not ball sack, but some kind of sack. He mentioned on a podcast where he's still kind of healing from that because the last time he wrestled was October 1st at some kind of house show, and even that on TV, the last time he wrestled was like September 15th. Or something. Okay. So he's been dealing with a few injuries and all that. That's why we really haven't seen him wrestle. That is probably also why they did it that way, where he had hit Loomis and they couldn't wrestle. Well, but eventually, obviously, we're going to get it.
Yeah, I think we should get it. Maybe it doesn't look like it's going to be Crown Jewel, probably a Survivor Series type of match, or maybe not. It depends how they go to the theme of Survivor Series. But this is definitely the first time Miz has the upper hand on Dexter since this whole
that's it.
Whole story started.
So maybe he's getting ready slowly but surely. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. It got me intrigued though, because now I kind of want to know what did happen to the Miz. What is the Miz hiding from Loomis? What is the Miz hiding from us? Still kind of intrigued. I don't mind it. I like the Miz. I'm not Big Red. I don't hate everything the Miz does, and I'm curious to see what Loomis will do after this as well. And with Gargano and Loomis being co-NXT stars and him kind of taking Loomis aside and his back, still should be interesting to see what happens with those two afterwards.
Because I think this is
team or something.
I think this is the work, or at least the idea of this new director of long-term creative. I think this is part of his thing to keep the mysteries and enigmas and things open, to create a buzz and to create people coming to watch the show because they want to know what Miz knows. They want to know who the White Rabbit was, and it did work for Raw this week because even with a Monday Night Football, they still did 1.8 million, which is the best they've done since I think there was the Go Home or the one right after SummerSlam. I don't know if it was the Go Home or exactly. So that was good. It's working. That people like you that are interested in knowing what
I like it. Yeah, exactly.
What did Dexter do to Miz, and does Miz know that he doesn't want nobody else to know? So those are things that to look forward in the next few weeks on Raw. Okay, let's finish up with. I know we talked mostly about Dynamite, so let's just finish up with some with the individual matches. We talked about the promo, the championship match, also the trios championship match, which was great. We didn't want to take the title since we took the title away from PAC, the All Atlantic. We didn't want to take out the trios. I think we're good with having them as the trios champion, even though, like you said, with a bit of a hint of maybe a friction there between Lucha Bros and PAC with the Hammer, the whole Hammer story. Storm and Sheeta. I like this match. And apparently it's 10 years in the making, the commentators were saying.
Well, Excalibur was saying, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, not 10 years. Yeah, I guess 10
Because I think
years
it goes
because
to the Stardom days in Japan or something.
exactly
Yeah.
something like along those lines, and they haven't faced each other since or whatnot. And I'm a fan of Sheeta, so
I
I'm just
love Shida.
happy to see her there. Um, Also, Rio, to see Rio
Yeah.
back
That
was
was
fucking
surprising. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
She still looks incredibly young though. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. My mom's like,
But
why
she
is a
can fly.
13-year-old wrestling? I'm like, she's not 13, mom. She's
Now
not
we
13.
understand why when Kenny fought that 9-year-old girl, we always thought it was Rio. It's just because she still Rio still
She's
looks like that 9-year-old girl.
still 9. Yeah, that's it. Jeez. No,
But
and
yeah,
that was fun. And obviously we saw Saraya.
yes, we
Saraya. I
finally
don't
saw physicality there.
some physicality. So looks like it's legit. She's cleared, and I'm down. Let me see it.
Oh yeah, because then they disappeared into the crowd brawling, and we basically never heard from them again.
Right.
It would have been good maybe a few 15, 20 minutes later or after the next match that they would have showed them still brawling in the back. That would have kind of been
Right.
cool for the story. They just kind of forgot about them after them going into the crowd. But I'm definitely excited for that. When I saw Saraya running to the thing, I'm like, no, is she gonna? She did.
And then bam. And
she just jumped, and it looked like they weren't holding back or being careful. It looked it looked like a real beating there or a fight there. So yeah, I don't know where they're gonna set up this for Full Gear or if they're gonna wait and drag it on a bit longer. But
she's
Full
cleared,
Gear's
baby.
a month away.
Yeah.
What'd you say? She's what?
I said she's cleared. So
yeah, she's cleared. So they don't, and they're not in a hurry too because they people want to see Saraya, but now that they know that she's cleared, and they've seen her in some physical altercation with Britt there. So people, I don't know, are not asking for it next week. Give me a match next week. I think if they build it up right, they put a story and back and forth, week in, week out promos back and forth, and the story continuing and building. I think they can make it right for a month from now at Full Gear.
Yeah.
I would be down for it because then, or else we'd have to wait for a Revolution right in February. So that it starts being
or I mean, not necessarily one of their one of their
one of their big dynamites. Yeah.
Winter is coming, or whatever. One of their special dynamites could be it too. Could be a good match. They don't necessarily need a pay-per-view or a battle of the belts.
No, that's true.
One of them randomly gets a belt or something. But yeah, it was a fun match.
MJF Regal, we talked about that promo. Fire. Yep. Everybody agrees there. ROH, the ROH championship. We didn't talk about that one. So Dalton, I'm not too
Dalton fucking Castle. Don't you dare say it. I already know what you're thinking.
No, I don't think you do.
Fucking awesome.
I don't think you do. That what I was about to say was I didn't know much. Before this.
Okay.
But with the promo last week and the match he put on this week, I'm impressed.
Fucking superstar.
I'm impressed.
Did you see him against Jonathan Alexander? Is it Alexander? Who is it? The guy who got pissed at Tony Khan is no longer there, and he was ROH champion.
Tony, no, not Tony Grisham. Jonathan Grisham.
Jonathan Grisham. That's it. Me too. I didn't know anything about Dalton Castle, and then I saw him against Dalton Castle versus Jonathan Grisham. Bro, he doesn't look like he'd be good because he has a weird body shape. But Jesus fucking Christ, can this guy go? Not overly a fan of his gimmick, but whatever. He makes it work. He likes it.
He makes it
work.
When
he gets in that ring, it's fucking banger after banger, though. So
you hear him talk, you're like, ooh, like, oh, what is he? But then when you actually, sorry, let me rephrase that. When you hear him talk, you're like, ooh, like, well, like, okay, it's a bit weird. But then when you actually listen to what he's saying, he makes sense and he has charisma delivering the message that he wants to deliver. He's a bit over eccentric, I guess would be the word there. But it works for him. It works for the faction. I think they're trios champion in ROH, right? Yeah, they're ROH trio. I think they call it 6-man tag there or something like that.
Exactly.
And that match was. I know Chris Jericho really loved this match against Bandito, and so did I. But I don't think this one's far behind.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Bandito still wins. But this Dalton Castle, I haven't seen him in a bad match. I haven't seen many matches from him, but then reading up on him, this guy also wrestled with a bad back while he was ROH champion. Didn't tell anybody. This guy almost lost his career.
Oh, okay.
So that made me appreciate him just a little bit more of how much effort he puts into the business as well. And yeah, man, I was glad to see him face Jericho for the ROH. I didn't think he was going to win. Obviously, they're definitely going to place Jericho as the ROH champion when ROH comes in, for sure.
Yeah, that definitely, until this TV deal starts or whatever. I think that's what the transitional champion will be Chris Jericho. But I definitely enjoy the story line that they're telling between Chris Jericho and this, what they're calling it, the Ring of Jericho now. That's what they call it, right?
Exactly.
The ROH,
Ring of
ROJ.
ROJ, baby.
Yeah, and he's the Ocho, and he's on a war rampage against everything that's ROH. Whether it's we've seen him beat up announcers, we've seen him beat up past champions, and now this week he said he would. He said in the past he would beat up commentators, and he beat up what's his name, Recaponi. I think his name Ian Recaponi.
Well, he didn't beat up the commentator because Jerry Lynn came out.
Oh, yes, Jerry Lynn.
And what fucking crazy. And, of course, he took it easy on the tombstone that he gave to Jerry Lynn.
Yeah.
Because Jerry
Lynn
is not a young
but I understand
anymore.
you want to be careful there.
But I understand. For sure.
Yeah.
But whatever, it was cool.
It's neck problems he had, right, Jerry Lynn?
I'd say it. So I suspended my belief there. I'm like, oh my God, on the belt. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like, I was in it. I was fine. Like, whatever. I get it. So that was really cool.
But he is a past champion. Does this give us a Lynn versus Jericho match?
Maybe. I mean, it could be something that can be done, or maybe Lynn will be manager for someone.
Or maybe Lynn picks a
yeah. You know? Oh my God, dude. To see Jericho versus Dean Malenko again. I doubt Dean would ever be able to, but holy shit.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think he has Parkinson's or one of those, or multiple.
Oh, shit.
One of those really debilitating diseases, if I'm not mistaken. But he's also a past champion. So
if you're gonna mention one of those and be mistaken, I'm gonna double check.
No, it's definitely one of debilitating disease.
Okay.
So it's either MS or Parkinson's. But we can check. You can check just to be sure. So I'm not just talking out of my ass here. What is it? Okay,
Parkinson's disease. Yeah.
So that's it. So,
damn.
So yeah, that would have been the man of 1,000 holds against what did he call himself in WCW when he went against Dean Malenko? The man of 1,001 holds.
1,004.
Yeah, 1,004. That's it. That's it.
But and, I'm enjoying that list had a bunch of arm bars there included.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, at 51 years old, especially recently in the past few weeks, he's basically him and Mox are basically holding the storyline aspect of Dynamite together with their storylines or their respective storylines. So kudos once again. I know we give him a lot of credit here on Wrestling Talk Now, but he definitely deserves all the credit that we give him. So Chris Jericho,
he deserves it. I mean, Jericho just constantly innovates himself every chance that he gets. That's one thing about work ethic. We were talking about, Ortiz being comfortable with where he is. Well, Jericho is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
He gets bored at where he is, and he wants to continuously try to improve on himself, improve on his characters, and just completely innovate himself every chance he gets. And he fucking hits bangers every time, whether he's a Wizard, a Lionheart, the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla,
Le
Champion, you know what I mean? Like the Painmaker. This guy can't do any wrong, and it's been working. It's
been working. So credit to him where credit is due, man. You are a true legend of this industry.
Goat for sure.
Yeah. I think we probably did good. Right on time. Look at that.
Right on time.
We're top. So take us home.
Yeah. So we went quick because I got to go see Black Adam. If you smell what The Rock is cooking. So I'm gonna check that out, and I'll be reviewing it. Probably be reviewing it here on WTN as well, because it's wrestling related, kind of, sort of, not really. But I'd like to thank you guys for watching and listening. Apologies for the comment section. Got a little flimsy. But next week it shall be better. But I still like to thank you, and we do certainly appreciate all of you. You guys can, of course, follow WTN at wrestling at WTN. What is it? At WTN _ Wrestling Talk Now on Twitch. Feel free to follow us there. We would appreciate the follows and the subscribes, but also everywhere else would be Wrestling Talk Now, WTN Wrestling Talk Now on your Facebooks, Instagrams, TikToks, Twitters, and all that. If you do want to follow me on Twitch, it is twitch.tv/JLBTLC25, and links down below for Real Talk Radio will be down below for that on the doobly doos. They can follow the crazy one though as well. Kid Krazy, where can they follow you?
You could follow me on Facebook at Michael Costa, and on the Instagram with Saltita _Costa. Or for anything wrestling, right here, Wrestling Talk Now.
Bam. So that is pretty much it. That is all. We will be back next Thursday and run it all down again with possibly some special announcements for future shows, potentially live and in person. Stay tuned for that, and should be a doozy. So, yeah, look out for everything wrestling related though on our socials. We'll obviously keep constantly updating that. So we will, Costa, I'd like to, Kid Krazy, I'd like to thank you, good sir, for joining me tonight. And always a pleasure. Hope Big Red feels better. So does Jeff. Kudos to those boys. Well, hopefully we'll see them next week, and we will do the same for you guys. So until next time, ciao for now.